Over 70% of B2B buyers do their research online before they ever contact a vendor. That includes the people buying what you make. The question is, are you showing up when they search? I'm Gerald, this is Chris, and today we're breaking down SEO specifically for manufacturers. Why do manufacturers specifically struggle with SEO? What are you seeing when you look at their websites?
There's a few things, really. One of the first ones is their website is kind of built like a brochure. And kind of what that means is you have one page of content. This is what we do. This is how we do it. You have the next page of content. This is another thing we do. This is how we do it. But those pages aren't clearly laid out as to how those are done, what's involved, with just more detail and more content. The next thing is you either have people that did these great photo shoots where they have very large photos and their website loads slowly, or the images don't have alt tags, alt text, stuff like that. And then the other side of the coin is they haven't done a photo shoot in 20 years, and the digital images they have are like 200 pixels by 100 pixels, and they're super blurry. That doesn't help things either.
Yeah, for sure. That I feel like that's the most common. Like when we're dealing with manufacturer sites, they all want to showcase what they do, and it's usually heavy on imagery, light on content. And the websites that have the terrible pictures, that's pretty common too.
Yeah, and the next thing I would say is probably no content strategy.
Mhm.
They just kind of look at each page as an individual thing. What do we do? How do we do it? Who is it for? And then that's it. They're not really looking at how each page of their website builds a total picture of them as a manufacturer, doesn't do anything to demonstrate their quality, their history, things like that.
Gotcha.
And then the next thing is really nobody ever does any keyword research to find out how people are searching. One of the largest success stories with a manufacturing client that I had was they were a CNC machine shop. They manufactured metal components for everything from bearings to bushings to landing gear components for aircraft. They dealt with NASA, all of that stuff. And before I came along to help them, they were not getting in front of the keyword machine shop. And so what we found out was when Boeing or Bombardier or the US Department of Defense or NASA was looking for a machine shop to manufacture their components, they were literally just typing in machine shop into Google, and they weren't capturing any of that search.
Yeah. I feel like that is always the issue is like people assume there's the type of language that they use in their shop is what everybody searches for, and they don't ever take that extra step of figuring out, okay, no, this is how our ideal buyers are searching, and this is what we need to optimize the website for.
I think the last thing is a lot of manufacturers out there, they're in their shop day to day. They just want to look cool. So they get these flashy websites with, deep contrast, like blue on black and red and black and stuff like that. And their website looks cool, but it doesn't have the content that drives search.
Yeah, that's always a sticking point is we're advocates for websites looking great. We want every brand to look great online, but that's almost secondary to what you're saying, what language you're using on the website. So walk me through how manufacturing buyers actually use Google, because I think a lot of people assume it's like searching for a pizza place online.
Yeah, manufacturers, potential clients or customers, the way that they're searching is there's kind of different levels to what they're searching for. And one of the reasons that they kind of do this is because there's such a wide array of manufacturers that manufacture different things, different ways, different types of materials, all of that. So one of the first ways that they'll search is something general, like a CNC machine shop. People will search for machine shop. But then when you need something more specific, let's say I'm Boeing, right? And I need someone to manufacture bearings for aircraft landing gear. Bearings for aircraft landing gear. I may search aircraft component manufacturer, aircraft machining company, aerospace manufacturer, stuff like that. That's more industry specific. Or the next level would be component specific. I need a manufacturer that can make X or can make Y. I need a manufacturer that can make bushings. I need a bearing manufacturer. I need a hinge manufacturer.
Yeah. Or super, super granular like the I need an ASTM A36 steel plate supplier. I just read that from our notes, but
Exactly.
that's real examples of stuff like if you have a hyper specific problem or product that you need, then a lot of times that's how they're going to Google and searching. This is one actually, Chris, I want you to touch on the low volume thing with manufacturing because a lot of industries where if you don't have much keyword volume, it is almost an irrelevant keyword. But this manufacturing space, it's very different because if you have low volume stuff, it can still make a big impact. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so certain terms when I'm doing keyword research, I will find certain terms that have a very low search volume,
Hmm.
but a very high click-through rate that can drive a very high conversion rate. So a lot of the SEO tools that we have access to, stuff like SEMrush, Ubersuggest, they will drop any keywords that are lower than 50 or lower than 30 searches a month and they won't appear. Google will also combine those with longer tail keywords. So you take a long tail keyword that gets 10 searches a month, it just gets added on to the main keyword that's
Yeah.
50 searches a month. And so what we find is in manufacturing specifically, some of the lowest volume searches have some of the highest intent because they're just looking for someone who has a certain degree of specialization to meet their need. And so
Yeah.
you can take a keyword that has 10 searches a month and get 2 clicks, but those turn into 2 conversions. And those sometimes have the highest conversion rate from lead to customer too.
Yep. And that also like kind of leads into the low hanging fruit aspect. When you get very like granular with some of these searches, the keyword difficulty is going to be low because it's not a lot of competition for that specific thing. So it does lead itself to being able to rank quicker than other, the other more volume keywords. So that's always a big opportunity there. The only other thing too would be you kind of hit on this with like how people search, but it also depends on if it's the engineer searching or the procurement officer at the company or the ops director. Like all of that, those guys are all going to use probably different verbiage and they're going to be searching different things in Google. And so it's worth always just kind of figuring out who the ideal buyer is and how they actually search. A manufacturer is watching this right now. Where do they start? If you could do a quick audit, what are the 3 things you typically look at on a manufacturing website?
Most commonly, what I find is content volume. So you'll see pages with less than 500 words on them. When you're looking at it from an SEO perspective, that's a very limited amount of content to work your keywords into to match
Mhm.
up to search. The next thing is generally who that content is meant to serve. Does it help you find if, that website can actually solve your problem? Does it help you know what your next steps are? Does it explain your capabilities? Does it explain your products? All of that stuff. And then I would say the last thing usually is site speed, mobile optimization. So a lot of those sites are going to be, for manufacturers, tend to be older sites that maybe have a lot of errors, compatibility problems, old versions of PHP and databases, or if they're relatively new sites, they tend to have a lot of unoptimized images and video on them that makes them load slowly.
Gotcha. One thing I want to circle back to is we get this pushback all the time. It's like we tell people you need more content on specific pages to give Google and AI models more context of what that page is about. And I think that a lot of people, if they're familiar with the SEO space, that translates to keyword stuffing, like that old school methodology of figure out this word and then just hammer it over and over again. Talk about how it's a little bit different now. That's not the approach that we're recommending.
Yeah, these days it's not so much about having uh, the keywords worked throughout the page a certain amount of times, a certain amount of density. Like when I first started doing SEO, I would always use a tool called a keyword density checker.
Yeah.
And these days, it's more about the authority of that content. Does it answer the right questions in the right order? Does it cater to the reader that it's serving? And does it help you solve your problems and answer any questions that you would have about their service or their product?
Yeah. It's funny. It's like it's just circled back to good marketing, which is explain thoroughly what you do and how you help the customer. And it feels like it did get away, like when you got into that SEO hacking and keyword stuffing realm for a little while, but it with AI, it kind of brought it all back to no, it's about the quality of the content, not the quantity. And I mean, this
Right.
is kind of an aside, but you know, Google just did the update in March of 2026 last month, and it was really kind of a testament to that. It was saying the AI slop on websites, we're going to start kind of demoting that stuff, and we're going to promote the better quality, which is, I guess, to your point, that's what you're saying the strategy should be. A lot of manufacturers say we don't have time for content and we're not a media company. What do you typically tell them?
I would say if someone, a potential customer, calls you on the phone and asks you some questions about your product because they might buy, would you tell them to get lost, or would you take the time to answer their questions? It's the same thing on your website. You need to think of all those questions that people may ask you. Think of the questions that people already are calling you and asking you, and answer those questions on their website so that then there's a higher chance of them buying from you.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost is like it's just common sense that you might think it's obvious stuff. Like you might think, "Oh, this is not worth my time to spell this out very clearly on the website," but it really is. I mean, you have to truly like put yourself in the shoes of the buyer. And if I get to a website and the content's super thin or super outdated, you're just not going to fill out the RFQ form on the website. You're not going to call. You're just going to go find somebody else.
And one of the things too that I tell people is regular content updates on your website make your website last longer. We see a lot of companies where they think they need a new website every 3 years because their website, for a lot of them, doesn't match what they do anymore. They have services they don't offer. They have materials they no longer use, and they're not going to their website and updating that. And so they can extend the life of your website, and you don't have to do a lot all at once. You don't have to update every page every month. As needed, you address your product pages, your service pages, your industry pages, and then things like blog posts. You don't need to do 3 blog posts a week. You don't need to do necessarily even 1 blog post a week. If you were to do 1 a month and just keep that schedule regular, the search engines will recognize the new fresh content on your website, index it, and it should help improve your authority as long as
Mhm.
that content is good.
That's right. Well said. Give me one thing that surprised you working with a manufacturer on SEO, something that you didn't expect, like results or something like that.
Yeah, I would say the machine shop example that I gave before, the manufacturer that I worked with, they had all of the right pages. They had an aerospace page, energy, industrial, medical devices. They made all of that stuff. But then when it got down to it, the vast majority of people that were coming to the website and converting with either filling out the form or calling them were just searching machine shop.
Yeah. It is funny, like, yeah, you would think that the more like specific you get, the better the results would be. But again, it's back to that whole doing the research, figuring out what your ideal buyers are searching for, and they're just not that. It seems like that example, they just weren't getting that granular. They knew majority of the machine shops could handle whatever that project was that they were doing. So the value for them was whoever was at machine shop got the first dibs. So thank you guys for watching. If you want someone to handle SEO for you, that's what we do at WebPulse. There's a link in the description where you can schedule a meeting with us and we can talk through your company's website. We can talk through where you're currently ranking and how you can improve. If this was helpful to you, please consider subscribing. We're trying to make more content like this to help folks understand SEO in a practical way. So thanks for watching.